Welcome to the latest Motley Fool Scoreboard. I'm Anand Chokkavelu, and we've got longtime fools Travis Hoium and Rick Munarriz giving a 1 to 10 rating to a fascinating company for growth investors. I was saying I'm pretty excited for this, especially with Rick and Travis. It's Hims and Hers, ticker symbol HIMS. Talk about the strength of Hims and Hers business first, including factors like industry and competition. 10 is invincible. A 1 is hopeless. Both of you have 7s, Rick.
Yeah, so Hims and Hers, they turned heads by using telehealth solutions to prescribe things like minoxidil for hair growth and erectile dysfunction drugs and all that, removing sort of the inconvenience and sometimes embarrassment of going to in-office visits for something that can be done, basically in the new normal in a good business model. This is a good business model. They were posting decent growth at the time, and then business sort of exploded. It was going great, and it's still been able to sustain that way because they were able to take advantage of the shortage of patented weight loss injectables. When that window opened up, it basically let them make compounders. So they became a compounder in a different way that they started making these solutions that worked out. And that growth took off at that point before that GLP-1 boom sort of stopped and sort of reopened again. Novo Nordisk and Hims sort of did come together to agree on something. But right now, Hims and Hers has its foot in the door. Now it just needs to kick it in.
Yeah, I think this is one of those phenomenal business models that could potentially be disruptive to huge segments of the medical industry. Rick mentioned that growth has taken off since the GLP-1. There's a whole lot of debate around compounding, how long that will last, what they're going to be doing with that in the future. That Novo Nordisk partnership lasted for about a month and then fell apart. So a lot of volatility in this company. But before GLP-1s were even launched, which was in summer of 2024, this was a company still growing at 50, 60% a year. That pumped up to over 100% in the most recent quarter. But I think going direct to consumers has been a trend for all kinds of products, from media to the things that we're wearing over the past 20 years. Healthcare has really lagged in that, and this is going to be one of the leading companies to potentially bring those kind of services and solutions to a market that is in real need of disruption.
For management, a 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson. Travis is at a 9, Rick's at a 7.
Yeah, so I don't know if co-founder CEO Andrew Dunham is brilliant or just lucky to be at the right place at the right time. I don't like how his executive team bio calls him a serial founder. To me, CEOs like that sometimes tend to break a company's heart. I also don't like what Hims and Hers employees have to say. Just 52% of those reviewed by Glassdoor would recommend working at the company to a friend, and only 57 of them approve the job that Dunham is doing.
Yeah, I think it's hard to know with CEOs, especially this early on. He is, relatively young. That serial founder label came from an incubator called Atomic. That's why he isn't, a massive shareholder the way that like a Jeff Bezos would be, for example. But I think if you look at his track record over the past 12 to 18 months, as the company has kind of matured, gone from this VC-backed company, another, company that probably went public a little bit too early, to be having to become a little bit more mature company, I think he's become a very good CEO. If you listen to their conference calls, he has a very clear vision of where the company is going 5-10 years from now. He had some really interesting answers about taking insurance and just saying, you know what, if we're going to disrupt the pharmaceutical industry and the way that we interact with medicine, insurance is not helpful for that. So we're going to go without insurance, and that's going to be a driver of our business model. That's the kind of vision, the kind of execution that I want to see. So of course, lots of questions outstanding, but we had lots of questions about some of the visionary CEOs before they kind of became who they are. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't thought of as this phenomenal CEO, 15 years ago. Now that has changed. And I think Dunham is going to be one of those people we're going to look back on pretty fondly.
Yeah, I don't want to kill someone for just, some words on a bio, but to Rick's point, serial founder, if you're at a wedding and the word serial dater comes up with the bride or groom,
Run.
Short that wedding. For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Travis is at an 8. Rick, you're at a 7.
Yeah, so Hims and Hers has a cash-rich balance sheet and a debt-free balance sheet. I love that. And Travis is absolutely right. They were doing great even before the whole Novo Nordisk fumbling the ball on the supply side. It has grown its revenue by at least 65% in each of the last 6 years. It's off to a strong start this year. It's a compounder in more ways than one. All this should have me higher than a 7, but analysts see revenue slowing dramatically to just 20% next year. This is where Hims and Hers becomes a hymn of hurts.
Yeah, I think analysts have no idea what to do with this company. This is also one of the companies with some of the biggest short interest. And, when they beat their earnings estimates, it's not, we beat by a couple of percentage points. It's analysts expected 30% growth and they grew 90%. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in analysts with this one. They just raised $1 billion to grow the business more, make some more acquisitions, advance in artificial intelligence. Again, if we're going to use AI in the medical field, I don't think it's going to be the incumbents that are going to do it. It's going to be companies like this. We're growing at over 100% positive net income, and management sees their operating margins increasing 1 to 3% per year for the foreseeable future, for the next few years at least. There's tailwinds on the revenue side and the margin side. So love what I see in the financials.
You don't often hear operating margins increasing 1 to 3% annually. That's interesting. Travis, let's talk valuation. How well will Hims and Hers stock do over the next 5 years? How safe is it? 10's a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
I've got really high expectations. I put 15% plus. Safety is a little bit lower. This is not a no-brainer, guaranteed win, so can't go too high with that. But this is one of my top stock picks over the next decade, and it's not all that expensive. You look at a lot of companies out there trading for 10, 20 times sales, and they're growing revenue, maybe 20 or 30%. Hims and Hers growing revenue at 100% and trades for about 6 times sales. So I think you're getting a pretty good value and disruption. I just love what I get with the stock.
Yeah, so I'm just a little lower than Travis here. I'm targeting 10 to 15%, so I think it should still beat the market. Safety score of 5. I'm a little less convinced on the safety. This is a company that knows how to climb the wall of worry, so I like its upside. However, in a world of copycats and potential regulatory risks for the business model itself, I have to play it safe here with that safety score of 5.
Time for everyone's favorite topic. Travis, is there a company in Hims and Hers space that you like more?
No, this is one of my favorite stocks in the market today. So Hims is him.
Yes, in my case, I'm a fan of Hims and Hers, but I think Novo Nordisk is the better play here. Ticker symbol NVO. They're the GLP-1 stock that is helping right now with Hims and Hers. And again, with the whole diabetes and weight and obesity drug happening right now, it's them and Eli Lilly pretty much have the market cornered. A lot of companies like Amgen and Pfizer that had these things were working in the deal sort of fumbled the ball in this case. And meanwhile, Novo Nordisk is trading for a earnings multiple in the mid-teens, decent dividend of 2.3%. And it's the next few years, analysts see double-digit growth. I like the valuation of Novo Nordisk here as an alternative.
Thank you to both Rick and to Travis. They've given Hims and Hers a strong overall score of 7.5 out of 10. I've owned it in the past. It's interesting to me. That's why I was really interested in this episode. I think I own Novo Nordisk based on a prior scoreboard episode. I don't think it's done that well for me, but hopefully in the future because of what Rick's talking about now, where it's priced. Anyway, look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is DoorDash. Till then, Fool on.